Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Ann Turner. I'm a member of the Worship Council, and I am so glad to be greeting all of you this morning. A warm welcome to all of you in the sanctuary, as well as to our friends who are joining us on Zoom. We are especially delighted today to welcome Reverend Angie Arndt back to our pulpit. She is a longtime member of First U, and we look forward to her sharing her grace and wisdom with us this morning. Welcome, Angie. No pressure. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time visiting our congregation, we invite you to fill out a connection card, which should be located in the pew right in front of you, and we can then connect you with programs here that will interest you. You can drop this in the offering plate when it is passed later in the service. For those joining with young children, nursery care is available during our service for babies and toddlers. The nursery is located out this side door and down the hallway on the left. Following our service, all are invited to join us for coffee hour downstairs in our gathering room. This is our time of friendship, fellowship, great food, and answers to all your questions at our welcome table. Before we begin worship, I do have an announcement. Our first Maine Farm Supper of the year is happening on November 9th. It takes a huge crew to make this a success, and it is time to sign up to help or reserve your dinner ticket. For information about this, for signing up, for taking some posters to distribute around the area, please stop by the welcome table and someone will answer all your questions. We also invite you to read your Sunday morning news for other information. Please pay special attention to the various ways that we are joining with other local faith communities to provide spaces for folks to meet their needs during the upcoming election week. But now I invite you all to take a deep breath and stretch if you need to as we settle into this time together. Our music director, Sam Chandler, will lead us into worship.
Wow. Thank you, Sam. Good morning. It's really great to be here and to see so many familiar faces. Thank you for having me back. I'm going to call us into worship with the words of Rumi, 13th century Sufi poet who had something to say about listening. What is the deep listening? Sama, or listening, is a greeting from the secret ones inside the heart, a letter. The branches of your intelligence grows new leaves in the wind of this listening. The body reaches a peace. Rooster sound comes, reminding you of your love for dawn. The reed flute and the singer's lips, the knack of how spirit breathes into us as simple and ordinary as eating and drinking. The dead rise with the pleasure of listening. If someone can't hear a trumpet melody, sprinkle dirt on his head and declare him dead. Listen and feel the beauty of your separation, the unsayable absence. There's a moon inside every human being. Learn to be companions with it. Give more of your life to this listening. As brightness is to time, so you are to the one who talks to the deep ear in your chest. I should sell my tongue and buy 1,000 ears when that one steps near and begins to speak. Thank you. Thank you, Sam and choir. That was very moving. So please stand and join in the next two parts of our service, the opening hymn, which is 391, and then stay standing for the unison affirmation.
Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, will we remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing. Voice still and small, sleep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still we remain singing. Calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
And now please join me in saying the unison affirmation found in your order of worship. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people, mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge. We respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future.
Now it's time to light our chalice, and I would love some help from any of the younger folks in the congregation this morning. Come on up. Good morning. All righty. Do you remember what we say? That's right, that's right. Nice and loud. We light our chalice in peace and friendship. Okay, make a wish. All right, good job. Pass this one to you guys. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today we have two new animal friends to meet.
And here they are. Let's say hello. Hello.
Hello. Neither of us are professional puppeteers, so bear with us. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh, and hi.
Hi.
I'm Sam.
Wait, you can't be Sam. I'm Sam.
Oh. Yes, I can. My name is Sam, not yours. Not theirs either.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Okay, let's pause here for a second. What were these two animal friends, these two puppets, doing right now? Anyone know? Arguing, disagreeing? And what do you think that has to do with our theme of deep listening?
You know, we can all have disagreements sometimes, but as UUs who put love at the center of all we do, we know how important it is to be able to listen with kindness and respect people, even when we disagree with them.
Okay, and that's not relevant at all right now, I don't think. Okay, now, so puppet friends, what is the problem?
Well, my name is Sam, and he was saying that I was Sam, but I'm Sam.
Okay. All right. Everyone is talking over each other, and no one is listening. And if we do that, we'll never be able to fix this or find a solution.
They said their name is Sam, but they can't say that because my name is Sam.
But my name is Sam. They can't be Sam because I'm Sam.
Okay, I'm getting it. Well, why is it a problem that you're both named Sam?
Well, how will you tell us apart?
Yeah, everybody is gonna get really confused, and that's gonna be terrible.
Okay, so I get it. You're both worried about being confused. You're both worried about how it feels to be called the same name and what's going to happen. That's the feeling underneath what you're talking about. I think I know how to fix this. All right, Sam, what is your last name? Smith.
And what is your last name? Brown.
Okay, so we could call you Sam S. and you Sam B. That way no one will get you mixed up. How does that sound?
Well, I'm okay. That sounds pretty great.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that works for me.
Learning how to listen to each other when we disagree or are mad is a very important skill to have because it helps us understand each other and maybe even learn from each other.
I'm glad we took the time to listen.
Us too.
Us too. All right, so now in Children's Chapel today, we're going to be continuing our theme of deep listening and explore a little bit more how we can listen to nature.
And in junior youth group, we're working on our animal first aid and learning about planning our fundraiser to help the Animal Refuge League. But first, let's say our children's blessing.
We are Unitarian, Universalist, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
So I invite you now to what many consider, including myself, the most sacred part of the Sunday service, and that is the sharing of our joys and concerns. It's sacred because it's when we get to listen to one another, which is clearly today's important theme. So I invite you to come forward as you're comfortable to share what's on your heart. You're also welcome to stay in your pew and say the say your joys in your heart, equally effective. And for those on Zoom, if you have something to share, please put it in the chat, I guess is the instruction. How cool is that? And it will be also shared. So I'm going to light the first candle. In deep gratitude for a community that clearly, truly listens. Please come forward as you are called.
I'd like to celebrate me learning to listen to myself.
Morning, I'm John. I'm lighting a candle for strength. I was watching a football game last night, and the most abhorrent commercial I can possibly imagine came on last night, telling everybody that they needed to vote for somebody who was against trans community. And it made me angry, made me really angry. So I'm lighting a candle for the strength to turn that angry into loving action and going forward.
I guess my family has a lot to say this morning. I'm Dale Shields. John's my husband. I was just reading this morning that another way to channel your anger, and I wasn't even planning to say this, was in the form of wrath. So very thoughtful, grounded, purposeful words, steps. So that really hit me this morning in a book that's called If Women Rose Rooted. Maybe you all have heard of it, Sharon Blackie. But what I was going to come up and ask for is prayers for our son, who's taking really good steps.
Good morning, I'm Robbie, and I just wanted to light a candle of gratitude for this beautiful community. I think I've been here for a year now because I started coming right after my husband passed away. And so it's been a whole year. He passed away October 13th and survived this year, and it's actually been a beautiful year. So thanks.
My name is Pete Titcomb. I have a candle of gratitude. Marge and I have had our 2 granddaughters.
Spirit of life and love, known by so many names, and yet by no name truly known. We thank you for your presence today, for receiving our prayers, our concerns, our worries, our anger, our grief. Sharing with you and community, lighten the load ever so slightly and help us to get up again and put one foot in front of the other while we deeply listen to your voice. Blessed be, and amen.
At First U, we share our offering with social justice partners every week. Today's half plate will be shared with Atlantic Black Box. This organization is leading a grassroots historical recovery movement to surface the region's suppressed history of racial violence and oppression, and to shine a light on efforts by historically marginalized groups to resist oppression, fight for justice, reclaim their heritage, and express the depths of their humanity and creativity. These goals will be achieved through participatory archival research, public history literacy building, grassroots organizing, site-specific learning, storytelling, collective dialogue, and care practices, artistic interventions, relationship building, and walking, the cultivation of embodied connection to people and places. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing our offering plate to one another. For those gathered online, you are invited to make your offering using the donate button that is in your order of worship, or by dropping a check in the mail. Your generosity is appreciated.
Please rise as we sing our song of thanksgiving.
Our reading this morning is a poem called Ways to Listen, an Incomplete List by Rosemary Watola Tromer.
There's lonely listening when sitting in a crowd. Open listening as one listens, eyes closed, to the wind in the cottonwood leaves. Numb listening as one listens to detergent commercials.
Baffled listening as one tries to discern if the speaker could possibly believe what they say. And full body listening as a cello plays.
Sometimes I've felt my whole being break with delight in joyful listening to my granddaughter's laughter, and break equally with unbearable listening as the soil falls on the casket.
There's the holy listening when we listen for the dead, and greedy listening in which every other utterance is merely a ladder rung for stepping into your own story.
Selfless listening knows only to receive. There's the way you sometimes listen to me, as if my words are waves on the river, not something to interpret, but something familiar. And the way you sometimes listen to my silence and know precisely what I mean. There's nervous listening as one listens to the mouse in the wall.
And there is vast listening, like when on a clear night, lit only by stars, I can almost sense how the universe not only sings through my body, but listens too, listens to itself and knows itself in the listening.
And the vast listening, like when on a clear night, lit only by stars, I can almost sense how the universe not only sings through my body, but listens to itself and knows itself in the listening. Just thought that warranted repeating. So, the power of listening on so many levels. I delighted at hearing that the theme for this month was deep listening, as it feels as though I may have spent my whole adult life teaching people to, frankly, shut up and listen. I wanted that to be the title, but I felt it might be a bit irreverent. My life path has shown me again and again how listening truly may be the most powerful tool we have for connection to one another, to ourselves, and to all that is. Here's how it has unfolded for me. When I first graduated with a master's in counseling and industry, I'm not sure what I was doing, I ended up as an employee assistance program coordinator. And that meant that we took programs into businesses to offer counseling to employees. It was very, very powerful, positive. The programs are still going strong to this day. But my job as the coordinator, besides selling the program, was to go in and teach the supervisors to, in a nutshell, shut up and listen to their employees. Not ignore them, not pretend the problems weren't there, but to listen. From there, I moved into crisis intervention. I worked as a hotline volunteer at 774-HELP here in Portland as a volunteer, and then moved into the role of coordinator and trainer so that I could teach volunteers to shut up and listen. On the hotline, that's it. You're on the phone, you can't even do the eye contact piece. It's all listening. And it is a very powerful intervention tool. I then got trained as a parenting educator in connection parenting. And I spent 25 years inviting, begging parents to shut up and listen. Our kids get talked at, talked to, talked over all day long. And the parent who can find a little bit of time to quiet themselves enough to be present and to listen, again, connection will be made and a child's needs will be met. I then volunteered at the Center for Grieving Children as part of my volunteer work for the Chaplaincy Institute. And same message, different theme, different focus, but bottom line was, please, come in when you come to facilitate, come on in, but put a sock in it and listen to the people who need your help. I also taught Houses of Healing at the Wyndham Correctional Facility. Same message. I sat with the incarcerated and helped them find their way to healing was by being quiet, was by listening, to stop the storyline, the thing we tell ourselves day in and day out, and instead to find in the quiet a new way of hearing what we may have been missing. And then, of course, as many of you know, I went to the Chaplaincy Institute of Maine and was trained and ordained as an interfaith chaplain, and I stuck around for about 10 years teaching other people how to do that. Bottom line, we were teaching them to shut up and listen. Why it took 2 years, I'm not really sure, but that's how the program worked, and that was the takeaway. It's not complicated. It really isn't. But our egos and our world and our culture make it seem so much bigger. But it's a very simple message. I had a friend suggest that I might write a book. And I said, well, I've sort of given you the whole book. Shut up and listen. There's not more. We don't need chapters on that. And I was tempted to use this entire time to have you sit in silence and to listen. But I know how hard that is for many of us. But you know, listening in community is the way of many spiritual and contemplative traditions. The Quakers sit together in silence in their meetings, waiting to hear the voice of God before they say a word. Buddhists, of course, sit in meditation in their sanghas, their communities. And Sufis, well, I hope you got from Rumi how he demonstrated how powerfully the Sufis believe in the power of listening. I think that we in many churches, not just this one, have been spared the call to listen, as our services are so full of words, and we spend a great deal of time in our heads. But I invite you to consider maybe a practice of beginning or ending your day with a little bit of silence, with listening. I'm not going to make you sit for the whole reflection time, but how about a minute? I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable, and I want you to place one of your hands on your forehead, at your third eye. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, move that hand down to your heart space, gently inviting your listening ear to move from your head to your heart and simply listen. Isn't that a beautiful place to hang out? Why should we do this? Well, as Rachel Naomi Raymond, the author of Kitchen Table Wisdom, puts it, listening is the oldest and perhaps the most powerful tool of healing. It is often through the quality of our listening and not the wisdom of our words that we are able to affect the most profound changes in the people around us. When we listen, we offer with our attention an opportunity for wholeness. Our listening creates sanctuary for the homeless parts within the other person. That which has been denied, unloved, devalued by themselves or by others. That which is hidden. That which is hidden. We need to listen more for that which is hidden, but always right here for spirit. My personal latest invitation to shut up and listen has been from the program that I enrolled in a year ago to become certified as a spiritual director or companion. My hope is I look forward to supporting people's spiritual journeys, both one-on-one and in groups, by truly practicing what I'm preaching, by shutting up and listening. One of the key lessons I am being hit over the head with is how, by sitting in silence together and practicing deep listening together, we can hear that still small voice inside and make perhaps more grounded, spirit-filled decisions that will lead to more compassionate action. My teacher encourages me especially to not speak until I have heard 3 times the nudge of what it is I want to say. Boy, talk about a slow down message. It ain't easy, but I'm getting better at it. 3 times. And when one practices that, when one checks their automatic, this is what I want to say, and listens again, and listens again before offering it, it somehow ensures that you're going to hit the mark. But if you go with that first time, which is my usual MO, chances are I'm going to miss the mark. So that's one take-home offering I give you. And my supervisor has encouraged me to sit in silence. From my practicum, I have a group of 6 people I meet with on Zoom. And I was, in very typical minister prep fashion, I was coming each time with readings and prompts, and, I was like on fire. And my supervisor said, "Shut up and listen." And so we started to open our time together with longer and longer periods of silence before we spoke. And the Quakers are onto something, I'm learning, that through that deepening inside, in the silence, the sharing becomes more authentic, more relevant, and more helpful. We learn to resist the urge. Most of us in our listening, as soon as someone starts, we're starting to think about what I'm going to say next, how I'm going to fix it, what I can offer for the solution. We're not actually listening. But if we can pause all that, say, go to the side here, I'll get to you in a minute, but I'm really going to listen. What we respond with can sound and feel very different. Father Richard Rohr, the founder of the Center for Action and Contemplation and a Franciscan, writes of listening this way: listening to the word of Spirit is opening to the often wordless speech of this presence, wordless speech, allowing the transcendent to touch us, to inspire us, to beckon us across boundaries, to take the next step in our lives. Listening well to our inner lives, to the thoughts, inclinations, images, and emotions that arise within us is an important practice along the spiritual journey. Listening is essential in relationship to the living presence and in mutual relationship with people. It really is the greatest gift we can give ourselves, our partners, our children, our friends and colleagues. He goes on to say, deep listening challenges our internal status quo. Deep listening challenges our internal status quo, another way of saying ego, and exposes us to new possibilities. The world is full of possibilities for healing and wholeness, for well-being and joy. And like the biblical prophets and contemporary people who live in their lineage, all those on a spiritual journey are called to listen, to learn, and then to act, to bring a more fruitful future into the world. One of the teachers I really connected with at the Chaplaincy Institute, her name is Lama Willa Miller. She's a teacher of Buddhism. And she wrote a book, Thus I Have Listened, a reflection on listening as spiritual care. And she offers this component to deep listening. This kind of discipline is greatly aided by curiosity. If you are genuinely curious about the internal world of yourself or another person, you will stay with the story because you want to know more. We care to know what the person cares about. If we are curious, we are no longer required to be there, but we want to be there in the presence of another's suffering or joy. This kind of curiosity can be cultivated, but it does require a certain amount of humility. We cannot maintain curiosity if we are constantly concerned about sharing who we are and what we know. We cannot maintain curiosity if we are constantly concerned about sharing who we are and what we know. Good listening begins with letting go of the need to be heard ourselves in favor of entering the world of another for a time. Entering the world of another person, another spirit, another level, shifting our perspective. The process of active listening involves an attitude of compassionate responsiveness. Compassionate responsiveness is not so much a set of actions or beliefs as it is an energy of receptivity paired with a willingness to feel with another, to come alongside him or her in the moment of difficulty or difference. To be compassionately responsive means to put ourselves in another's shoes for a moment, long enough to understand what an appropriate response might look like. And an appropriate response can often be silence. not one we practice very often, but you might try it in the next few weeks. To put ourselves in another's shoes for a moment, but in order to do that, we really must practice. Again, I invite you to try and find 5 or 10 minutes a day to be in the silence. I start my mornings with a cup of tea, and I tell myself I'm having tea with God. 5 or 10 minutes, no big deal. You don't have to worry about whether you're doing it right. Just simply sit. Open your heart, drop from here to your heart, and be with Great Spirit, the Goddess, all that is, the universe, whatever language works for you. And listen. The more you do this for yourselves, the easier it will be to offer others. I do believe, as I said at the beginning, this kind of listening is a path to healthier connection to our loved ones, to our strangers, and all that is. In the weeks ahead, it is this kind of listening that will help us be less reactive, I believe, and more aware of the deeper undercurrents at work in ourselves, others, and the world. There are always deeper undercurrents at work. And hopefully, with this practice, we can help repair bridges and connections in ourselves, our communities, and with those we really don't understand. My wish for you all in the coming weeks is that this invitation to be still and to connect inside will help you find an ever so slightly more peaceful way forward. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Our closing hymn is 1002, Comfort Me.
And we'll be singing verses 1 and 2, and then 1 again.
Please join me for the unison benediction. For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, May life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step.
Go in peace, be well, be happy.